What you doing, beloved?
Attention, attention, my black brothers. What I want y'all to do right now is take out the do-rag, the silky, tie it down. I want to see the waves glistening. If you got nappy hair, pick it. Don't let nobody discourage you.
Ariel.
Black boy, black boy.
What are y'all's favorite song by the group Fifth Harmony or the individuals in the group of Fifth Harmony? I did this on purpose.
Yeah, I can see. That's why you said individual, because you know good and goddamn well I don't be sitting up there listening to no Fifth Harmony.
Well, I used to be a harmonizer.
No, that's
I
right.
used to be a harmonizer back in the day. I would say work from home. I mean, it's like the basic choice, but like it's one of those songs that will always bring me back. You know, when like music is like a memory. It's like you kind of go back to a certain time. And I feel like 2016 was a cute time, you know?
I feel that.
Okay.
That summer was amazing.
It was
And
iconic.
then, sorry. Y'all like,
You like, no. Do you have one, sis?
I really enjoyed Motivation. Like, I don't know why, but that shit, I was like, you know what, this is a cute little song. I didn't stream it, but I liked to hear it.
You know, it kind of felt like something that Ariana said no to.
I feel that.
That like I really enjoyed like Waves. And like kind of like Normani's like that true R&B. Like I was like, oh, like this is the moment.
Yes.
And then I feel like now she's a little bit more poppy. And now she's kind of trying to combine the two, which I get it.
She is.
You know, that's definitely the route Beyonce went. So I think it's doable if she has the right team behind her.
Yeah, but it was a different time, and when Beyonce was coming in, pop was like the thing. I think now it's definitely more like hip hop and trappy and all of that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm surprised that she hasn't taken that route, but I could see that she doesn't want to do what everyone else is doing, I guess.
Really? Because
I think someone. Oh, go ahead.
I was like, really? Because you know, it's very what she's putting out to me. We're not gonna go in on it, but it's good. It's
I love
good.
Normani.
Right, it's good.
I love her. She was my favorite in the group. And you know, every time I would go see them perform, it was it'd be that connection when you see.
How many times did you see them?
Oh, I saw them like 4 times.
You were really a harmonizer.
Fifth Harmony, they weren't together for that long.
Yeah.
I was a harmonizer. I would literally stand online and everything. Like I was that person. Like in the rain.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Where did you grow up?
In Brooklyn.
I can hear that shit. I was like, this is the New Yorker right here, baby.
I talk to people. I'm always like New York and like Brooklyn and all of those places. Like it feels like it's another country. Like y'all have your own like culture, like vibe, like swag. Like I'd be like, I want to go to the bodega. Like I feel on that
borough, each borough. Like you rep your borough. Like even though like for me, I'm from Brooklyn, and you know there's like a little slight rivalry between Brooklyn and the Bronx. But I love the Bronx. Like that's my second home. So and Uptown too.
Yes, I'm here for it. I like by Normani, or not Normani, Fifth Harmony. It's the song I like. He got the bass in the trunk. He got that.
I like that song too.
I like the video. The video is very vibey, very like.
And then they disappeared. Right after. Right. It was like it was giving, and then they disappeared.
He got that. Yeah, I was like, I think it's because they just could not cohesively like. They could not, but I don't know. I don't know what
girl groups don't last very long ever. So there you go.
Groups in general, like when you really think about it, like groups, and even outside of the music industry, it's always some drama, some gossip. Somebody don't like something that it's always a mess. It's always a mess.
Well, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Lord Devery,
and I'm Derwin King.
And welcome back to another episode of That Black Boy Joy, where we create a space where black boys can be themselves.
And so much more.
And guys, girls, and anybody in between, we have another guest in the building, as you probably hear. We have Victor Ramos, a.k.a. Vic M. Ram, on social media up in the building. Just to give you all a bio, Victor Ramos is an Afro-Latino, but of Puerto Rican descent, American LA-based social media star, lifestyle guru, beauty influencer, and co-host of the Q Agenda on LA TV, and now a podcaster. Victor has more than 68,000 followers on Instagram due to the popularity of his makeup tutorials and various collaborations with beauty brands such as KK Beauty, Ulta Beauty, and Morphe Brushes, and many others. You may also see him chatting it up with other influencers over at his podcast, Talking with Vic, or recreating wow.
Yeah, girl, slow down, child.
I'm used to reading. Okay. Take two. You can also see him chatting with your favorite influencers over at his podcast, Talking with Victor, or creating some iconic scenes from our favorites like Tiffany Pollard and Nene Leakes. How are you doing, Victor?
I'm good. That was quite an intro. You did your research.
Listen.
I was not expecting all that. You said my username right. Like everyone always gets that wrong. Like,
what do they say?
They'll be like
Rom.
Vikram, like Vikram,
Yeah.
like, and I don't. At this point, like if you say it like that, it's like that too. Like I've embraced it, but I like that you didn't forget the M in there. I always forget.
It's your middle name. It's the middle name. That's why I was like, how
did you know that? Like nobody ever knows that, even though I've said it 75 million.
Listen, we do our research for our guests. Okay, we do that. So
yeah, we got.
So how are you
sure
doing?
That you're represented.
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys are going to ask me, but I'm ready.
Yes. Okay. Well, we always ask our guests this. What does Black Boy Joy mean to you? And also, what has brought you joy today?
Black Boy Joy to me just means, for me personally, like, you go through so many hurdles, and the fact that, especially being a Black man and within our realms and our industries and stuff, and the fact that we are still able to celebrate and to be happy and to, you know, just be in your vibe and not care, that to me is Black Boy Joy. Like, it's honestly crazy all the things we can endure and we're still like having fun and doing the most and all that. And for me, something that brought me joy today was both my mom and my sister called me. So it's nice whenever I get phone calls from them.
Yes.
Because the time difference, it's always something, like either I'm busy or they're busy.
So do they usually call you, or you usually call them, or it was just like, ooh, like?
It kind of depends. It depends. Yeah. We gotta catch one another at the right time. Because then 3 hours is a little bit of a mat sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think it's not that big of a deal. But.
Nah, I know it is, because that's the difference between being up at 9 o'clock for work and then being asleep at 6 a.m. So,
Yep.
How long have you been away from your family?
4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been 4 years. I've gotten used to it. I can't imagine living back home, to be honest. Like, I can imagine living in New York again. I'd rather live in New York. It's actually funny because my mom, when she called me today, first of all, I got worried because it was like 7 a.m. and I get a text and she's like, hey, when you see this, like, let me know. Like, and I was like,
and you'd be like, oh my God.
I was like, something happened. So I didn't call her back immediately. I said, it's too early. It's too early.
It can wait.
And I just need a moment. Like, let me work out. Let me get things done. So then, like, at 9, I called her and she's like, oh, yeah, I just saw, like, these new apartments out here. I don't know if you're planning to come back. And I'm like, Ma, like, are you kidding me?
My mama does the same thing. Like, she always be like, so there's these like new, like modern apartments that you will be interested in if you come back home. I'm like, girl, I'm not going. I'm from Ohio. So I'll be like, girl, I'm not going.
Listen, if she wants to pay the rent, I'll go back. But I'll go back if she paid the rent.
I mean, come on. What brought me joy today, well, I'm gonna just say this weekend, was Derwin had a going away party, and it was just really dope to be having like a last like shebang hoorah. First of all, I was turned and I was lit.
I know, that's right.
Listen, it was the margaritas, but I really had a good time with you, Derwin, when you were at your
you.
party, and I'm going to.
Where are you going?
Good old time. So I'm actually moving to New Orleans, and I will
Oh,
be leaving
cute.
this area next Tuesday. So I guess the day after this episode releases. So my friends have been gracious enough to throw me a couple of going away events, and the one that we did on Saturday was just really beautiful and really fun. So shout out to everyone who came out and those
Shout
who
out to the
didn't.
girls.
You know, what brought me joy today is Reese is actually here since he was unable to make the party. He's actually downstairs right now. So I'm seeing him. I'm seeing my friend Shay today, and my stepmother will be here as well. So I'm still getting together with my
Celebrate.
loved ones and saying goodbye. Let me just tell y'all, in the midst of this stress, there is like a lot of joy. But child, when that joy, goes, it's just lots of stress in it.
Oh my God. Well, Reese was on the
Fine.
podcast as well too, so shout out to Reese for being in the building
Yeah.
in spirits. He's not on the show. So we're going to get into a game that we always do guests. We always do games with our guests now, which I think is about to be like a new thing. So today's game, we're going to do guess that catchphrase. So we're going to just give you a simple catchphrase. I feel like you should know these. I know. Victor,
Yeah, I'm pretty good at
I feel
this.
like you should know these as you are, doing the videos right now. So I'm like, I'm gonna give you all a phrase, and I'm gonna have you all guess who said it or where it's from. They should be simple, so I wasn't too challenged. They won't be too challenging. So the first one, it's Bible.
Well, the Kardashians.
Okay, boom. It's the Kardashians.
Like
Very
they all
simple,
say
very
it.
easy.
They all say
They
it.
all say Bible.
Okay, got it. I
You got
understand how
this?
that's
Okay.
being used as well. Didn't know that, but caught on quickly. Caught on
You didn't
quickly.
know that?
I didn't.
Bible.
You've never heard them be like Bible. Like
It's
that's
like put it on everything. Put it on the Bible.
No, I totally get what it means. I totally got it. The episodes that I have watched did not hear them say that.
Mm,
they say it in a lot of episodes.
they do. The next one is bloop, bloop, bloop.
That's
I
Nene.
mean, come on.
Honk the horn on their ass, Greg.
Come on.
Toot toot.
Toot, toot. Okay. That's hot.
Harris, are you kidding me?
No, I remember that shit.
I remember-
from when
I mean,
was
are you
9 years
kidding me?
old,
That's
yeah.
hot. That's hot. And then my favorites are these last two, which I don't even need to like say who it is, but it is Buckwild. This isn't a soup kitchen. Let's straighten that neck up and act like we're having a photo.
Tiffany New York Pollard.
That bitch is hilarious. Okay.
She said we are not in the soup kitchen. I
We're not. Straighten up that neck. And let's act like we're taking a photo shoot.
Give it up, Delicious. You look like a man.
said, and do I look like I give a fuck? Because I don't.
I say that every day, at least once, to somebody. Like,
She was like, Beyonce. Beyonce.
that might be my next skit, by the way. I'm excited.
Ooh, okay, come
I feel
on.
like that's probably one of the most iconic moments.
Cannot wait to see that.
Not wait either. Let's get into our Black Boy Joy Spotlight, Derwin.
Yes, today's Black Boy Joy Spotlight goes out to Monday Music, as actually he's collaborated with our very favorite Warren Dumas. He's a American artist and songwriter from Atlanta, Georgia. Has written songs for/with K. Michelle, Lotto, artist formerly known as Mulatto, Dreezy, and Cam Calloway. Also has, I think it's a song coming out, OKC. So check that out. And then there's also an EP out right now. So you can follow Monday at MondaiiiMusic.
We on the same wave. Like we sometimes don't like converse about who the spotlight is. It's just we show up and then whatever the person says. So when you said, I was like, girl, come on, Monday. I was like, I listened to Monday.
Oh, and I wanted to clarify. The song is X2C. So I guess it's like ecstasy.
Oh,
Yeah. And thank you. First of all,
Yes, well, she-
I just want to say this before we move on, that Monday is fine as hell. And you know I love to lust after somebody, child.
Girl, I troll. I troll.
mashing the motherfucking hearts. Like I be on there like breaking that button because
Okay, so we asked our guest from last week this question, but Victor, do you prefer people to slide in your DMs or do you like to slide
ooh,
into people's DMs?
the people want to know, child.
People want to know.
Either or. I'm very bold. So if I
Come
like
on.
somebody, they'll know. Like, but if you want to slide in my DMs, that's fine too.
You can slide in, but it's will I will I talk to
Yeah,
you?
exact. No, literally, like it's either
Which
I
one do you have
respond or
the
I
most?
don't.
Which one do you have the most fun with?
I'm a pursuer. Like I like to kind of like, because I always, there's like a type that goes for me, but I like to explore outside because I have no type. So I literally am all over the place. It's insane actually. But yeah, I like to pursue. I think it's more of a challenge. And especially in LA, people don't pursue, like people don't go up to people. So it's kind of funny to see people be shocked. Like if I go up to them and they're like, oh shit, like, but then they love it.
That sucks that they don't go up. I didn't know that. Okay, LA.
It's not a thing. No,
Not
the girls are very
surprising.
dry here.
It's literally not surprising. I think the same is to like a small degree in DC. It's a lot about like insecurity, right? Like being afraid to be rejected. And I imagine that in LA the stakes are significantly higher than they are here in DC, at least mentally. So that literally doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, the DMV boys are bold when they go to New York, though.
I know that's right. They ain't bold here though, child. I'll let you know that.
They go to New York and they feel like they got to be ballsy. They feel like
you have to be around all the like New Yorkers are nuts, so you kind of have to be bold. Like what I mean.
You like, girl,
yeah,
I gotta come ready. I gotta prepare. No, the DMV niggas, I think they like it's like you meet through a friend. The way that we don't do well, I'm not gonna say I have no problem coming up to somebody, but most guys here I've noticed that you have to be in like a friend circle to have that moment where you like can like get their number and then hook up. So
yeah,
I just need a little liquid courage and to like a nigga a lot because I ain't about to just use that on anybody. I'm not walking up to just anybody because they're cute.
You see, I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. So when I drink, I typically don't go up to people because nowadays, like that is a slippery slope, especially out here. Like people accusing you of stuff. So at this point, if I go up to you, I'm very sober. Like I'm very like, and you're sober too. Like I'm not really like. So I don't really like to meet people like at the club and stuff because I don't want a party person as like a partner anyways. And if you meet them at the club 9 times out of 10,
that's right,
a party person, you know what I mean? So it's not the place. Maybe a hookup, sure, why not? But no romantic, no nothing.
Yeah, it's like, girl, we leaving it at the club and that's it. Okay, the next we might leave it at the hotel, we might leave it at the place, but we're not about to be what we do. Hey, big head afterwards.
It absolutely matters where you meet them. It absolutely matters where you meet them. That's why it's better when you meet people like when you're doing your hobbies because at least you have something in common.
I agree. True. I agree.
Well, what if your hobby is okay? Never mind. Let's get into these. Let's get into these hot topics, girl. Let's get into them.
Okay, so Issa Rae popped up and like is married. Like that was just such a shocker to me, and she was a beautiful bride.
She is
beautiful. I loved it. Like I feel like they all had to sign NDAs. All her friends, all the people that were there. Like the fact that we don't know when she was married, we don't know anything. She didn't tag the guy. Nothing.
I could see the NDA thing, but then I could also see Issa like really having a solid group of people around her. Like she just, I don't know, it's something about her that she just exudes like emotional intelligence and like knowing who to pick around her. And that's why she's where she's at right now.
Yeah. I almost met her one time when I was in New York for Afropunk. I remember that weekend I was so mad. I was like outside of a club and it was very trash indoors, and I came out and this like black truck pulled up and one girl got out and was like, is it lit in there? And I was like, it ain't lit, it's trash, don't go in there, blase. I'm being my ratchet ghetto ass self. And then the girl's like, so I got Issa in the back seat. I was like, oh no, it's fun. I was like, it's popping, it's cute. I tried to go back in. It was like, you got to pay $25 again. I said,
What? I said it wasn't 25 when
Again?
I'd have been like, Issa, hook me up. Hey, girl, let's go.
Lo and behold, she left. They got in the car and went
Of
to
course
somewhere.
they left. You told their asses it was boring.
Yeah, I'm sure she heard you. Like if you were like, oh, like she heard you. She was probably in the car like.
He was like, look at him. He was doing all. And then lo and behold, so that ruined my night. So I called an Uber back home and like laid in bed and vented. So I love that for her. I love that she got married. She looks beautiful. It just looks iconic. I need to get married. So
I agree.
I don't know about all that, girl.
You know me, I'm a hopeless romantic. I want to find me one nigga and then I'm done. Case closed. The chastity belt is on. I think it's just me. Like I think I'm just like this old fashioned. It's also some insecurities and also some things I'm going through with therapy. But I'm like, I think just one. But who knows? Maybe I
have a problem with it. Like, and down the line, I am totally there with you. I just literally, a man is the farthest thing from my mind in this very moment. Like, I literally don't have the capacity to think of fond memories or thoughts about a man. I don't.
Yeah.
Dang.
I would love to have it. I don't have fond memories at all either. I think I dream about it. Like I have like in like whole moods, but I'll just be like, yeah.
I have fond memories. I have fond memories, but I have fonder memories by myself. So.
I know. Period.
Like
I love it.
So I was very early on, like in a relationship. I was in a relationship at 14, and we broke up when I was 18. And it was giving very modern because like my parents knew, like he would come over, I would go to his place. Like it wasn't giving like no secretive. Maybe like in the first couple of months.
Come on.
But somebody outed me to my parents, and then after that they were like, oh fuck it, whatever.
The girls are haters.
Well, sorry that happened, and I'm glad it worked out well.
No, they really are. But so for me, I think because I went through all of the things that people typically go through in their 20s as a teenager, like with first love and all of that. Once I got out of it, I've always been kind of a wild child anyways. So I don't like to be tied down or controlled because I like to have fun. So I'm living my best life right now.
What is the wildest thing? Like, I know we haven't even jumped into the interview more, but what is the wildest thing you've like done? Like all of us, what is like the wildest thing?
The wild? Okay, you guys go first.
Okay, you can choose one that you feel like is appropriate for the podcast.
Well, what are we talking about when we say wild, honey?
Your discretion.
Oh, somebody else go first. Y'all trying to get me to spill.
Yeah, because it's like you could go about this in any way.
You really could.
I think I flashed somebody while I was driving. Like somebody was driving, and like when I was in high school, I would say, "Them keep it very," you know.
Yeah, that's
I just like when I was at, it was like we were driving by, and I pulled my pants down and showed my ass out the window when I was driving by. I'm gonna keep it like that. I'm like, you're not about to know my business that much.
Yeah, I mean, I streaked through one of the halls of my campus my senior year because I was like, fuck it, like I'm leaving.
Okay, I've done something like that similar, and I got caught by my mama. So.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay.
That's how y'all getting from me. Shit, y'all story time when I get good and ready to share a story, but I ain't spilling my tea today, honey. This ain't.
Girl, listen.
About Victor.
Come on. It's not all of us. Shut up. Who's next? Who's next?
So, we're gonna do this really quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on this troll. DaBaby made some comments over the weekend at Rolling Loud. And is that what it's called, Rolling Loud, the little festival? Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called, but the COVID, it was wild and deep in that motherfucker. Deviant was.
It is Florida though.
That's not what that is called. You hear me call it Deviant? Delta was all up and through that bitch. I merged Delta and Variant together for Deviant. But they were anti-gay for whatever reason during his set.
What was the reason?
His performance. His music, which has nothing to do with us. He decides to take a moment to say, like, if you're not, fellas, if you're not sucking dick in the parking lot. And I was just kind of like, well, where's the relevance? Like, why are you talking about niggas sucking dick in a parking lot on your set?
Very specific, yeah.
This is your time to be performing, and you specifically are like call and response to the audience about shit that literally has nothing to do with you. And then it was like, if you don't have, HIV or AIDS, I think he just said AIDS, and
Yeah.
or any of those diseases where you'll die in 3 weeks, which was just completely ignorant because people aren't dying in 3 weeks from HIV and AIDS. Most people are on medication if they are positive and are living very long and healthy lives.
Yes.
So naturally, this caused a huge conundrum on Twitter. And then T.I. weighed in, and we hate him over at that, like Bojoy.
I blocked him.
Good. I'm glad
I've
you
been
did.
blocked him. I
I
didn't
don't.
know. Oh wow.
I didn't see his shit. Somebody screenshot what he had said, which was, "Did you see it, Victor? If Lil Nas
It was
X
pretty much like it
kick
looked,
his
yeah.
shit, then the baby can say what he said." So, like, essentially, if Lil
He
Nas
said, wait. What did he say? He said, "No,
if
Nas
Lil
X can just be
Nas X
himself."
can kick his shit, then the baby can say what he said. Which essentially means if Lil Nas X can be publicly gay, then the baby can be publicly homophobic. And every single day on God's green earth, Clifford proves himself to be the gutter
The
butt
big
ass that he
red
is.
dog.
Just gutter snipe right out the hood.
Anyways, Rolling Loud looked really cute. Like, I just love how like it just was given. It looked like it was it just was
It's
looking
giving
just very
Delta.
much like nothing was happening. Like it was no stop doing that. It
Oh
was just
shit! I'm
given like
sorry, Delta.
it was they probably it was given like there was not like a pandemic happening, which I kind of was like, yay, and I was like,
It's Florida.
whoa.
It's
Florida,
Florida.
I don't think Florida ever
does not
closed.
care. No, they didn't.
They
Just
don't
like
care.
Atlanta never closed.
They didn't.
Never.
Never.
I have friends going in and out of.
I was there
LA.
once. I'm not gonna lie. Like I went to Atlanta.
I actually know a lot of people who were.
But it's great. Well, my sister, to my credit, my sister was still there. Even though I was still being responsible, like let's just keep it real. Because the girls are over here attacking everybody and not being real about
what they were doing.
They were conducting themselves. So I'm very on that. I was shocked because LA was the strictest city because even when I went to New York, I was like, oh, this is a little bit more lenient than LA. But when I went to Atlanta, I was like, like I was shocked. I was shocked. Like I was like, oh my God, like they really don't care out here. But then that made me think about a couple things. I was like, now wait a damn minute. Like I was like, it was just a lot. Like I was just like,
how?
I'm not gonna get into it.
Were you wondering how they were able to do it?
Yeah, like nobody that I knew was like affected like in a major way. So I was kind of like, but I was like, let me not. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's a big city. Atlanta is a big city. Like I would expect more to like come out of it.
Yeah. Well, I think it also depends on. Well, they weren't wearing too many masks because if you were up at the club, and I did see
they were no. I was at Bulldogs and the girls were not wearing masks.
There were a couple of clubs where I know that I heard people had gone home and tested positive for COVID. I actually just talked to somebody on last Tuesday who said that they went out to Atlanta and when they got back home, they had tested positive for COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, when I went and I got tested coming back, I was a little bit shocked that I didn't have it because I was like
out there.
Nobody was wearing their mask, no nothing. Like it was shocking. It was shocking, but
wow. So, well, hope the baby gets trolled. I hope all of that happens. I hope he loses all his endorsements. I've noticed that he is losing endorsements with boho men right now, and also I think Dua Lipa may, get rid of his. Like, nah. So, congratulations, you done fucked up your career.
I have a little bit of a different stance on this whole thing. That I don't think that people like to me like, yeah, it's disappointing, but. Like, I literally was like, what else is new? Like, this isn't shocking news. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would be shocked if he spoke in support of the gay community. Like, honestly, like, I think a lot of people are disappointed in themselves for supporting him. So they're kind of taking it out and projecting. But like, it's no shock that one, especially growing up in Black communities and people of color, like there is like kind of almost a heightened sense of homophobia. Like my experiences have always been no shade with Black men. Like in terms of like direct aggressive homophobia, like being called a faggot and all of that. Like it's been like that. So to me, I was like, wait, like people are shocked by this. Like I'm the type of person, when I don't support somebody, I don't speak their name. I don't say nothing about, like, they cease to exist. And I feel like that's what cancel culture needs to figure out. Like y'all like, what?
If y'all cancel them, y'all don't need to bring them up. All right? You just don't need to bring them up.
Think about it at the moment and be like, this person ceases to exist. And I'm sure when you do that and you stop buying their stuff and streaming their music, because a lot of people be outraged, but when they buy themselves,
they be over there.
They still watching the music videos. They still streaming the music. So it's like, what now? Like, that's why I don't be.
What's the action?
Because I'm like, come on, we need more of a proactive approach to a lot.
That is true. You like, I need actions. I need action plans.
Yeah, and I think to your point that like the baby had proven himself to be trash prior to that moment. Like it was the Meg business, and just like he's abusive.
He also had brought out Tory Lanez.
Yeah,
that was the Kickstarter. I was like, but anyways, yeah.
So, really quickly, we don't have to have a full dialogue about it. I just want to talk about these nasty bitches. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis are not bathing their children daily. They said that they're not bathing themselves or their kids too much, which I can't imagine too much being anything more than like a shower a day, unless you work out, and then you probably are going to take more than one shower a day. I know some people do it in the morning and at night. But there is a subsection of America, and more than likely Europe, because historically white people are nasty, who believe that we don't have to bathe daily, like that we just don't need to like wash up or like anything. Like the fact that there are people, and it's so crazy, this is so relevant, because my mom and I had this conversation the other day. Like, if we don't see dirt, we're not washing. Like, where did that come from?
Wait, but do you, like, to get to the point where you see dirt is a little extreme.
That's days. That's days.
Not be seeing dirt on you. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
you should not be seeing
and it's something about like a shower, even outside of like the hygienic purposes, it's so relaxing. Like, you just be in the shower, you like,
health benefits,
hot water, like, you know what
therapeutic.
I mean? Like, and whenever I need a pick me up, you just hop in the shower and you got all the energy in the world. Like,
hot or cold. I always just be fascinated about, like, I'm not gonna say, of course, like, there's moments when you drunk as fuck and you don't take a you wake up the next day and all that shit like that. But I'm always just fascinated when people are like vocally proud of saying, like, I don't shower every day. Like, girl, that's not everybody's business. Like, that just makes people are gonna look at you sideways. We're gonna judge you because that just like demonstrates poor hygiene. But like,
what compelled you to share that?
And just keep it to yourself.
So it was who though again?
Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Oh, what a shame.
I know, right? And yeah, I liked them. I did.
They give very hippie vibes. Very much Charles Manson's Tribe.
I feel like though, like even as a couple though, like once you do your business, like once you need to take a shower. Because it's something about them, that combination, that it's just like, that shit takes everything outside of you.
They laying in that bed nasty, rolling around, dirt all over the bitch. They probably stink. And if you had seen the comments up and through there, people like, oh, my husband hasn't bathed in however long and he don't stink.
I bet you they was white too. Were they white?
You know it.
Right. Like, that's so weird. If my mom had thought I didn't take a shower, she was beating me into the shower.
Not beating you into the shower.
Beating me. I'm not gonna say whooping. I'm not saying spanking. She will beat me into the shower. Like, you think you about to? Nope. Yeah. So.
And a quick shout out to Simone Biles for backing out of the Olympic finals in order to prioritize her mental health, much like Miss Naomi Osaka. And I love that Black women are publicly prioritizing their mental health in a way that we have not been allowed to as people. I feel like our culture definitely like looks at people who take a step back for their mental health as weak. I had to do it in 2017 when I left my job at Target. And I remember feeling guilty about it for a really long time. But to watch someone who, you know, has made such a significant impact on the world do that, it's like, okay, this is something that people can reevaluate.
It is important to reset.
I agree.
I'm glad. I'm glad that it's the conversations happen because in competitive like sports, it is very toxic and very stressful, and it's a lot on your body mentally, physically, and emotionally. So I'm glad that there is a conversation that is happening on a higher level, because there needs to be some form of that conversation happening on that competitive space. So shout out to Simone for taking that time. And I think right now we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to get into why we are here. Everybody,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Get into ya.
All right, we are back and we are here with the meat and potatoes. The reason we are here, Victor. So this is where we give our guests the space for them to brag, to talk about all of their accolades and all of that stuff. So tell us a little more about who you are and like some things that you've been working
on. Just who I am. Honestly, if I talk about who I am, beauty really doesn't even go in that conversation, to be honest, because I feel like it's become so much of a job for me, if you know what I mean, that I think that's why I kind of expanded outside of it and started doing skits and stuff that I really enjoyed, because, you know, beauty really is draining. But if you want me to talk about the beauty stuff, like
you can talk about it as brief or in depth. It's all of which your preference is for the viewers and listeners to know about you, because we're going to of course ask you, you know, how you got there, but you know.
I think what I do like though about this segment is I feel like I'm not a braggadocious type of person, but I do feel like people assume that I'm that type of person. So I'm never allowed to speak about anything that I've accomplished. I don't know if you've ever seen any of my stories. I literally never talk about any of the campaigns that I've done or who I've worked with.
It just shows up.
You know, it just has to, because it's like kind of when I'm not oblivious to the fact that I've been tokenized to such a big like level from a lot of these brands. Like I'm usually the go-to, you know? So I feel like because of that, people that look just like me, it's a little bit of a resentment that's there that I'm okay with being vocal about it, but everyone's always so scared of this conversation. And I'm like, no, it's a thing. Like, it's like, even with my peers, I almost feel like I always have to be the one that stays shut about everything, because it's kind of like, well, you should be grateful. You're getting picked. So shut up.
I feel like you're being silenced. You feel like you're having to hold back your successes, or you being proud of you getting this recognition because the fear of others looking at you like, oh, he's bragging, or like.
It's not the fear. It's what happens. Like, it's not a fear. It's not something that's in my mind. You know what I mean? And I think with me, I'm such a vocal person, but it's kind of one of those situations where you got to look at things big picture.
Yeah.
And it's beyond me. Like, it's bigger than me. So if I get online and I continue this cycle of going back and forth with people that look just like us, it's like,
yeah,
what now? Like, you kind of almost have to sacrifice the frustration because it's so much bigger than us. Like, you know what I mean? Of course, I talk to the girls in person. If I see you in person, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm very infamous for that.
What's your zodiac sign, really quick?
I'm a Taurus. Okay. But I'm very infamous for come here. You know what I mean?
I know that's right.
Yeah, no. Like, if you're bold enough to speak on something or do something behind the scenes, like, you have to kind of hold every like outcome, like, and believe that, you know, it might be possible if somebody finds out and approaches you. You know what I mean? That's why I don't bite my tongue. I said what I said. And if you come up to me or something, you know, I expect the same thing. You can come to me and you can communicate that. But as history has proven itself, I almost kind of have to tiptoe. And I'm honestly so happy that there's other boys that are now being placed on a platform.
Putting that pedestal as
because it honestly puts less stress on me. Like, I'm like, yes, please, somebody else. I almost feel like it's like you beg for somebody else to be the face or something, because it's like I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight with the girls. Like, I really don't care. Like, it's just, if you hire me, you hire me. You know, I'm not taking anything from anybody else. You know what I mean? And also, I feel like my accomplishments go beyond my skin color. I have something to offer. And, you know, I put so much into my work, and, you know, I think that speaks for itself. But, you know, whatever.
If you're not discussing your accomplishments, how do you feel pride in that? How do you make yourself feel proud of yourself?
Because I it's not about speaking on my accomplishments, that I feel like, whether I'm proud of myself, like, that's internally, you know what I mean? I think the fact that I have the ability to not have to boast, because we're in a generation of always like speaking, oh, I'm this and I'm that. And I think that's amazing. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I have to do that. I just think that I'm always kind of in a unique space where people that look just like me are like, well, you should be grateful. And then people that are not Black or are not of color, whenever they see a Black person accomplishing things and you just are like, oh my God, I'm so happy for this. It's almost like, well, like, you know, it's like this thing. It's like you kind of have like these two completely different parallels of people that are like, oh, he's cocky, he's this, he's that. And then these people like, well, you get everything. And it's like, damn, can I live?
I think that's a difference too. I do think it's a difference, and I think that people often have it misconstrued, cockiness versus confidence. You know, being proud and being confident in what you've accomplished without putting somebody else's accolades down is a difference. I think when you're cocky is you will do whatever it takes to make yourself look better, and that could possibly result in you hurting somebody else's feelings or anything. But if I am personally like, yeah, I got this endorsement, and I'm not talking about you, or I'm not saying like, girl, you know, I think that's a difference. But I think we get into so many spaces and we know what that feels like, being in a space where you don't even have the opportunity, because you already know people are immediately going to be like, oh, you didn't deserve that, or oh, what a coincidence, he's the face. And it's like, girl, like, why are you putting all that? Why are you doing that? So and it's a weird thing.
And I have peers that are like cocky. Like, I have peers that are cocky. That doesn't bother me though. Talk your shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go ahead, do what you want. Like, people take too much of what other people are doing personally. And it's like, it's a projection. You know what I mean? I don't care if this person is cocky, because it's either it's facts or they look ridiculous. And you know what I mean? That doesn't affect me. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, you know, I think also it's so, sorry to interrupt, but it's like, it's very psychological. It's like it's deep psychological things that are embedded amongst people. And these are conversations that I have towards like my friends and stuff. And I'm like, this is more regarding people that are not of color. But sometimes I feel like when you are like a Black person within an industry and you are perceived as strong or like confident, it's almost like they're not consciously thinking this, but it's almost like, how are you like that? Because of all the things that they are fed throughout their entire lives of people that look like you are lesser than, are this, are that, or have more struggles. And I feel like sometimes it even goes into that depth of like, what's tea? Like, how are you confident? How are you this? How are you that? Like, you know what I mean? A lot of these people that are in this industry are really in this industry. It's the beauty industry. Like, a lot of them were insecure. Everyone always says, oh, it's not because of my insecurities. No, 9 times out of 10, you started wearing makeup or something because you had an insecurity. Like, let's just be real about it. Like,
I did.
Yeah.
Use my eyebrows.
that's what started it with me. It was my eyebrows. Like, I used to over tweeze, and then it was like a quick fix. There we go.
Yep. I just have half a brow, so I wanted to fill that bitch in. And I sucked when I first started, and then suddenly I didn't.
Well, I know you talked earlier about you being 14 and having a relationship at that age and it not being like something that you like feel like you had to like keep to yourself and your family was open about that. Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing, like your relationship with like your family and things of that nature?
So I always had a really good relationship with my family. I was raised Jehovah's Witness. So that was like my like upbringing. Like, and to be honest, like I didn't really mind. Like everyone always has these horror stories and like
Girl, I didn't answer the door. So if you would have came to the door, you probably would have not got that answer.
Listen, I would have loved that. You don't know how embarrassing it was when I would knock on a door and it was somebody I went to school with. Like that's so embarrassing. Like, why'd you have to open the door?
Do you believe in Jesus?
And the thing is, like, no one would ever question it. Like it wasn't like you would go back. Like it was like you would go back to school and they would just act like they didn't see you. Like it was like, oh hey girl, you know what I mean? But my mom allowed me to stop going at 14 after I was out there because it's like, why you like if you're gonna do your thing, like do your thing. So I was lucky enough to have that experience. But me and my family were always very close, and I don't think faith was gonna kind of destroy that because I know sometimes faith can be a hurdle for families.
And your dad is Black and your mom is Latina, right? Okay, just making sure that was okay. All right. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to have that that comfortability with your family at a very early age. Child, I think that is so lucky. And
I'm
always
kind of glad they did that. I'm kind of glad they outed me. Like they did me a favor because I didn't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
it's something I always thought about. Like I would be like, damn, like I'm gonna tell my family, like, you know what I mean? So like when they told my dad, it's like at first I was like, ooh. And then when he was like, oh, I don't care, like I just want to know, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gay.
my face back up. Yep.
There was no discomfort there or adjusting as a result of your faith?
Okay. So by then my dad was kind of on the outs too. It was a very transitionary phase. My sister is 9 years older than me. So she was already doing her thing. Like she was living her life. I think what made my parents unique was they were completely comfortable with the idea of us living our lives. And neither of my parents were the type that they had this plan for their children's lives. Yeah. Like they weren't like, oh, well, we want you guys to do this or to do that. It was like,
oh, so cute.
Like, do your thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're going to do it regardless.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to do it. Like they didn't tolerate disrespect. Like, they weren't one of those parents, but it was like,
you're allowed to be creative. You're allowed to explore.
Yes, I was allowed to like dress how I wanted and, listen to whatever music I wanted. I'm pretty sure they had an idea. Like, come on. Like,
we talked about that. We talked about a couple episodes ago. It's about how you grew up does impact your relationship and affect you, how you feel and how you navigate spaces. So you having that early on, like healthy to what you're explaining relationship and also being able to express who you are. It also navigates even how you talked about, like, you don't need to brag, you don't need to, I don't need to talk about my accolades. I'm comfortable in who I am. I'm confident. I think that also plays. So that's really that is really healthy to have that because you see how it like applies to that. But how did you get into it, the beauty industry? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I agree like wholeheartedly with what you're saying because 9 times out of 10, when I come across those type of people, and I find out about their family life, there's usually a correlation between confidence and a healthy family dynamic, But to me, I'm like, there's still no excuse because there's people that are rational who didn't have that, like, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I got into the beauty industry. It was very random. So when I started like filling in my brows,
the boy with the brows, the boy with the brows.
Child, them brows was like, I can't believe that even got recognized, to be honest. But it was a different time.
Mm-hmm.
But I started randomly just posting like pictures on Instagram. Like it was like 2014, 2015. It was like the dawn of like influencers. Like it was like that period where like influencers were still like a Kylie Jenner who with the blue hair. Like it wasn't giving like a normal person. You know what I mean? But I started to like, you know, post my stuff, and then I would just tag the brands just cause. And it was that, and then at the time it was like the Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette. Like that was like the hit. It was like the Brow Wiz from Anastasia and that.
Yeah, I used to love that. Oh my god.
On bare skin, no foundation, no nothing. Like I was contouring my bare skin. Crazy.
You find out they do ridiculous things early on.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. But at the time, you think you look great. Like I was like, oh, I'm that
girl.
I'm that girl. Yeah, like who's
just
contouring?
Concealer laying there, like no powder.
So from tagging these brands, like they would follow me back, and I was like, oh shit. And then I remember one time, Kat Von D was actually the first brand to reach out to me. I was like, oh shit. Like they're gonna send me something.
They said, "Come on."
So I don't know if y'all remember. I remember because it's my first PR package, but it was when they were launching their foundations, and it was like this big chest, and you open the chest. There was like a little TV in it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was like
watching people unbox it on YouTube.
Oh, I was like, I fucking made it. Like I have a fucking.
Fucking made it.
I fucking made it. Like that's it. Like, and the tea is like I was in the fucking projects in Brooklyn getting PR from like big companies. Like it was just like such a like polarizing thing. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it started from that, and then but the first moment where I was like, oh, I'm in the beauty industry was with Makeup Forever. Mm-hmm. And I ignored their emails because I thought somebody was trying to scam me, to be honest. I was like, ain't no makeup company trying to use me for no campaign. But yeah, they were. And once they invited me to the office and I went to the office.
Okay.
I
was going to ask, like, how did you finally get a hold of that? Like,
well, they followed up. They followed up, and then I went to their office, and their offices are in New York. And yeah, it was, and they were very generous. Like they could have truly taken advantage of me, and they didn't. Nice. And that first experience, it built a beast, because then moving forward, when people tried to take advantage, it was like, I already know my worth so early on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've been fortunate to have those experiences in the early part of your life.
The witchcraft.
During the break, we were talking about how my friends are like, wait a damn minute, how is shit working out for you?
And I said, bitch, you might be a witch for real.
Bruja magic, bitch. I'm screaming.
The bloodline.
You're you're multi-hyphenated. How have you managed that?
It's just me. Like you're like, it is just me.
Like
I love that.
I wish I had a story. Like sometimes I feel like, damn, like I wish I had those type of stories that it's like, well, you know, this happened in my life. But I think I was fortunate enough not to have a victim mentality like so early on. So even if something was a hurdle for me, it was just like I almost am grateful, because it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to another level after this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna get to another level. Especially with a lot of the things that I went through in LA. Because being home in New York, like that was a breeze. compared to the stuff I've gone through here. Like people here are nuts, and everybody wants the same thing. So it's. I think most of my growing up has actually, weirdly enough, been here in LA for the past 4 years. Because I was the wild card, and I would react very intensely to everything.
You brought New York to LA.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't ready. They were not ready for that. Nobody from New York was in LA except for like Resi. But like New York culture and like the rest of the country is so different.
Yeah.
But then New York and then LA are completely different.
It's like a pit bull and like a little pretty poodle. It's like
no. It's because poodles are nice little cute dogs or whatever. Listen, and I will say it till the day I die. Mm-hmm. New Yorkers are intense, but they're not mean-spirited.
I say that all the time, and it's the opposite for LAers.
And in LA, they're so sweet and they're darlings, but like it's a conniving energy.
It's manipulative. Like it's like, girl, just come show me your face right now. But they were like, I'm fine.
Yeah, like, oh my God, babe. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, no, it's fine, babe. Then when you leave, oh my God, he's so angry. He's so this. He's just too intense for me. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, bitch, I asked you if you had a motherfucking problem. And then that was your opportunity. You know what I mean? But now I've learned there is a plus side though to that because you know, New Yorkers are very intense, and I'm glad that I was able to get out of that and be able to kind of mix, kind of not the conniving side of it, just be a little bit more laid back and realize it's not that big of a deal.
I think it's just the hustle and bustle.
Because when I go to New York now, I'll be like, damn, like it's really not that deep, but but okay, like you know what I mean.
I think it's like the hustle and bustle of like New York. Like New York is in the most positive way. It's gritty. Like it's like it's a story. Like it is its own like Mecca, right? And it's like we all get it how we get it. Our family, we are like, and then we go somewhere that's like LA where everybody is just like, hi, oh my. It's like, girl, that's not what it's given. Like you can be transparent, and you know people always think about their image. I think that's the thing probably as well. Is like my image is like, but if you know who you are, like we talk about throughout the show, like who gives a fuck what others are going to say about your image, like girl, like.
But I get why the girls are like that here. Like you do get penalized for being yourself and being raw and being honest. Like if I played the game, I would have been way bigger than I was. But one, I'm not that type of person. Two. Why you think these celebrities be miserable and going crazy and have habits and all of that? Like, you know, but then there are celebrities that are the authentic ones and stuff, and they're at those levels. And those are the ones that have the stories where it's like, child, it took me a long time. Like, cause you have to like build, like you had like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'd rather be that story, or I'd rather not have it at all if it means that I can be sane and be a good person, because I sleep very well at night.
I appreciate that.
You know?
So being Afro-Latino and queer, how has masculinity shown up in your life?
I feel like, you know, of course, like even though I had a pretty easygoing father figure, you know, you all, especially from that generation, you kind of hope like your son is going to be like either playing sports or doing stuff like that. So I think, you know, you're guided in the sense that, you know, they want you to play that role of like the man, you know what I mean? Like they want you to be dating girls even as a child, which to me, I think that's crazy to me. When you really think about it, like, think about if you flip the roles and you were like telling a boy to like pursue a boy at like 6 years old. Like that's nuts. Like I don't see a difference in when they do it with girls. But do you have a girlfriend that are like 6-year-old boy? Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? I've even like had to say things to like my cousins and stuff now that do that. I'm like, child, we're past those times. Like, you need to like. It's like even with me, like it didn't matter how many times you asked me if I had a girlfriend. I knew what I wanted, and I knew where I was gonna go. Like that's not really gonna. You're either gonna come out or you're gonna not live in your truth and be cheating on your wife or something, and someone always gets hurt. You know what I mean?
You make a decision to do that very early on.
But I think going back to your question, I think it's just been like you're guided like that, even through society, like pretty much how you deal with anyone. No one's yes, exactly, like machismo, and it's just that culture, especially in Hispanic culture, like it's always given that. It's like, but then they be all gay too. Like I don't get it. Like what is like
So I found that out because I did a research paper about machismo in the Dominican, and I found that's where I learned the term men who have sex with men, because there's a large population, even in the Latin American community, of men who are having sex with men but don't identify as gay.
Yeah.
So interesting.
That's just a thing. And that's becoming even more popular now, where it's like they're bold enough to say, like, yeah, I'll do stuff with a guy, but like it's like to say that you are gay or bisexual is just like not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've also used your platform to talk about visibility and representation, also being a co-host on the Q Agenda, and also your most recent episode on Black Trinidad as well. Like, and you talked about the conversation of the gay agenda and Black men, and I really appreciate that conversation because really, the gay agenda and Black men is a whole like conversation that we are like. I don't want to say we are the suspects, but we are literally the ones that I believe, honestly, are pushing that this gay agenda is like happening right now, specifically like with Little Nas X and all of that stuff. So I really appreciate you shedding light on that in that space because I mean, as Black men, we know what has been in our community, and also like the toxicity that masculinity and the fear of being feminine in that space has like caused us to like have. So I really appreciate you using not just you being this beautiful face and all that, but also being an activist in representation. I think that is like dope too.
Thank you. I definitely don't identify as an activist because I think there's so much stigma to that now with selective activism, to be honest. I just try to live my life, you know what I mean? Like
I just do me. And
no shade. Like I think that's the theme of the episode because you know there's just so much, even with the gay agenda or whatever. I get that all the time, like in DMs or something like that, and I'm like, okay,
oh, I know it. Oh my!
I'm like,
God.
what now? Like, okay, I'm a part of the gay agenda. Okay,
because you're on a show called the Q Agenda, and you're literally you.
Is anyone paying for this gay agenda? Because I'm not receiving nothing. Like, who is? First of all, what standard are we adhering to, or who is it that we're seeking approval from? Like it makes black men look weak or this, but who does that matter? Who
cares?
Like, do you get where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
There's still like a veil of like this oppression that we put on ourselves.
Yes.
Trying to make essentially white people think, oh, we're so powerful. It's still a tactic of white supremacy, and it's like girls do not. But I think white supremacy has become so strategic in the 21st century, where it's kind of like autonomous within our community. We do all the work. We do all the work now.
It's called horizontal oppression. It's horizontal oppression, and we have no problem taking all of the rep and blame. Like, yes, we are gonna like, girl, you.
And I always say, our enemies are not the people in Alabama or these people that they showcase on TV and stuff like that. We'll probably never interact with most of these people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everything is done so covertly, and I think that's why it's so important to take a deep breath and like really pick and choose what's really important. And not only that, but also what are you doing in private to like add to the advancement and the progress of our community? Because attacking gay Black men is what is that doing? Like,
I mean,
really,
go
like, what is it giving? It's not doing anything. Like, I'll never understand it. I'll never understand.
I've always
and then the arguments give very almost like all lives matter, but for Black people, it's very that. Like, I'm like, do y'all not? Yeah.
They don't.
The math ain't mathing. Like,
for me, it's always like, well, what is our end goal? For if we have this like agenda, this like sinister plan, right? Like, what is the objective, and what are we going to get out of it?
I think it's the thing about like everybody is going to be gay, and it's like I think the thing that is this mindset is like when people start to have inclusion and start to be inclusive and start to like understand they're multifaceted and there's layers to all of us. People are like, what the fuck? It's becoming complex because now we have to get to know people as humans, and I'm like, girl, we are not just black and white. Like it is literally so many layers to us, and I think that society is just not ready to deal with the complexities of humans, specifically black and brown people. Like I think that is the problem, and they're like, fuck. Like now we got all these letters in this alphabet. Now they're Afro Latino and not just like black or Latin. It's like they're like, oh my god, now we got to do the work to include this. It's like, girl, you should have always had the work. But
you know what's the irony of it all too, especially like under my makeup pictures and stuff like that. Like it's the gay agenda, but in the beauty industry, like the least highlighted individuals within the makeup industry are Black boys. Like I think that's so when they say things like that, I'm just like, what's not clicking? Like what's not clicking? Like literally you have representation pretty much in every other community with big followings and a really big solid audience that listens to what they're doing. And then with us, it's like the biggest people are like in the hundreds of thousands, if that, and that's still such a limited amount of people. Like there's really like gatekeeping going on, and it's insane. Like so many things that go on behind the scenes that I'm just like, yo, people are really evil. Like it's really just a weird time, you know?
I want to ask you just to step into the beauty part, and this question is for me. What products can you not live without? Your must-haves.
Like currently?
Yes, I want to know right now. And then also I want to know the first product you ever were like, oh, this is it. This is the girl.
Ooh. Right now, so I have some of this stuff right now.
Okay, girls. Right there, a fresh beat. A fresh one.
I would say probably the one thing I can't live without is probably the Benefit Brow Pencil. And then I'm always switching stuff. So that's probably the one thing I don't switch. Is that I'm more of a skincare person. So if the things that I can't live without is like SPF and like eye cream.
It's the importance.
Like
it's important that your skin is popping. You got not popping, it's healthy. You have healthy skin.
Because I don't have the patience to wear makeup all the time. No shade. Like that.
No, seriously.
That's a process.
Yes, it is. And then the heat and shit. Oh Lord. No, for real. That's why everyone. I used to wear it a lot more often, and now it's like I have to really be in the mood to spend time in the mirror and sit down and do that shit. So
I'm going through the opposite. So now I'm getting back into wanting to wear makeup because I don't know. It is something that you're like, ooh, like you'll like pass by a mirror and then you'll just see like everything like, so like put together. And another thing that I've been getting back into is like trying to like dress up for stuff.
Yeah, same.
It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. Like when you look cute, like it's not even like I don't care about what anyone else is thinking. It's like you.
But you're feeling my pussy.
Yeah, like you're just like I'm feeling myself. Like you know what I mean?
It's real.
I agree.
No, I get that. So you also like we talked about this earlier about being tokenized in the industry and not liking, like, you know, that being something that's happened. How have you like managed to navigate that kind of space and, you know, not be the only boy that is the one that is doing the beauty when there's a shit ton of us out there?
I think honestly by just not feeling like you have to attack other Black boys within this industry.
Yeah.
I honestly try to be friends.
Boys in general.
The boys in general, but it's emphasis on like the Black boys because there is not that one person that's like at a Bretman Rock level or like, you know, like that.
Was James Charles was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
I can make a face. I understand, but
but so we've never seen like we have like for girls like we have like Jackie and Alyssa and like Nima Tang and you know we have examples of that, but for Black boys we don't. So the competitiveness is so much more real, if you know what I mean. Because even when I try to befriend the girls, like it's just this weirdness. Like the one person that I'm really good friends with that's in this field would be like King Kaya. His name is Hezekiah.
We shot him out last week.
Like that's like my friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like we talk on the phone and like, but outside of that, like everyone else is pretty much an acquaintance. And I think there's a weirdness that nobody wants to talk about. They'll talk about it in private, but like not publicly. And it's frustrating.
Ridiculous because there's so many girls. I follow so many of them on. It delights me to see the girls do this, right? Like this is a part of like what I wanted to see when I first started doing makeup. I wanted to see more Black boys doing this, and there are so many of you guys. So it is just perplexing to me that there aren't more reaching across, you know, to each other's pages just to not even just collaborate, but to really build a community that can take this shit by storm together.
And because, do you also
because all of the people that have gotten to that level were through collaborative efforts with their peers. And I always try to say that, like, when you think about like Nikita and like Bretman, even James, all these people were collabing. That's how they grew. Like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't just like, I'm here. But I think that especially within our communities, we want to be so independent and be that girl. And there's like sense where it's like, no, but you could be that girl and you can have a cool, that, you know, people that are like that. Yeah. Like, especially when they're like, all of us are different. Like when you really think about all the Black boys in makeup, like they all have something completely different to offer. Like it's not the same thing. And I think that's what makes us unique. Because with a lot of the other groups, they all do the same shit. They all dress the same. They do the same type of makeup. Like, but I think with the Black boys, everyone's unique in a sense. Like, you know what I mean? But
you also shout out a lot of Latin brands as well, and that visibility needs to be as well talked about too. Do you think that is the same thing in the Latin community, the collaboration part, or is that something you just experienced? Like, what is your thoughts about that?
You know, what I always use like kind of like the Latin sector as an example of brands and influencers that really came together, and their base audience is not a primarily white audience, and they're still selling out palettes and gaining millions of followers, and these people are like not known within the mainstream like Nikita audience, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter, they making the same type of money because
behind closed doors, that bad.
Because I think that within, especially in LA, like a lot of Mexican makeup brands and a lot of Mexican influencers are always collabing. And these people, like, you have like Louis Castro, who's like at 2 million followers, and like all these girls that are like really big because they have like their group and they rep each other. And I always see that and I'm like, wait, but why? Like, what's not clicking? Like, you know what I mean? That could be the same thing. Because with all of my peers that are Black, it's like I won't see them comment on like any of our stuff, but you'll see them under Nikita stuff, or you'll see that like and it's like that's your biggest competition. If you really want to have that mentality, that's your competition. That bitch is a millionaire. Like,
she is not looking at you. She is not looking at you.
Like, I'll be like, how am I competition? You guys are here like supporting people that are really making like waves. Like what is not clicking? You know what I mean? Like it's like this oppression again. It's like this common theme of like we kind of put it on ourselves, and it's very hard to get out of it. I understand, but it's not impossible.
What do you think you can do to mitigate that?
I think at this point, it's really coming together that's really going to make the biggest difference. What I do is I don't destroy opportunities, even if I don't like the person, because that's a big thing, especially in this community. Not in the Black community. I'm talking about beauty community in general. It's like it's always gossip and always this and he said, she said, and that really affects how your work goes. You know what I mean? So I think the best thing I can do personally is, again, think big picture. Whether you like somebody or not, you kind of know they're going through the same thing. Like all the Black boys, we kind of all know we're going through the same stuff. You know what I mean? So how can I not be a part of adding to that? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that look just like me that I used to be friends with and who have gone out of their way to say Victor's this and Victor's that. And even then it's like, I got to think big picture. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to, people like Black beefs because it's great entertainment, because Black people are very vocal and very transparent. And that's entertaining to other people because they're not used to that. Culturally, that might not be a part of their thing. And I'm not going to be your entertainment. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into this beef. I'm not going to get online because, especially if I know that in real life, if you're pussy, like, what am I arguing for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's really how I feel. Like, you know, you got to think big picture. And that's how I think us individually, we don't have to like each other. We don't have to be kumbaya, but at least have a certain level of respect. And I think that's where we're lacking, is respect for one another. And I'm not thinking about anyone in specific or anything. I'm just saying this is like a theme in a lot of, you know, our issues.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that input, that insight.
On a lighter note, I mean, I'm just being funny. Your videos, you started to really quickly like talk like your ideas behind your iconic videos that you've been posting that are very like to the T of these reenactments. Like I think it's like iconic, and like your thought process really quickly about like how you decided you wanted to do that on social media.
So that's something that I've been thinking about for so long. So my thing has always been like, I want to be like the most versatile influencer that anyone has ever seen. Like, I don't want to just do beauty. I'm not going to be 30 something years old doing beauty. Like, I can't picture myself at like 38, 44 years old, sitting in front of a camera and putting on makeup. I'm sorry.
That's right, bitch.
Like, it's just like, what am I doing next? And what do I enjoy? You know what I mean? So I was a theater kid in high school. We were fortunate enough to have a theater program. So we would go to like Broadway shows and stuff like that. And I've always loved that world. You know what I mean? I always wanted to be a pop star, but I can't sing. So what's the next thing? Acting.
We were too. We were both theater kids as well.
Theater kids.
Yeah. Like, and I was, again, fortunate enough to have like literally like in Broadway's like backyard, like we could actually go to these shows, and we had these programs where they would take us backstage because they were trying to encourage like people from our community to go to theater. So I've been wanting to do that for a long time, because I'm like, there's so much I can add to my platform than just putting on makeup. And I almost always feel like, to a certain extent, that's almost why the beauty stuff worked out, but didn't work out in the way that I imagined, because I'm almost being guided in a different direction, and I'm not complaining. Like, it's a direction that I think that I would enjoy more, which is involving myself more in like entertainment as opposed to just beauty.
You answered my next question about manifestation. So,
Yes.
I'm sending support on that. I do hope. I know that you will be able to branch out. The camera loves you, so I look forward to seeing you on screen.
Shout out to the podcast,
Or
amazing as well. The podcast is your lane too. Like it's really iconic.
Yeah, I need to get back on that. I've been slacking.
Girl, we get it.
We absolutely do. We absolutely do.
It was just, I was working with other people, with one other person, and now I'm doing literally everything on my own. Yeah. So to kind of juggle everything has been a struggle, but it'll come back. It'll come back, and I'm excited. But I think entertainment, podcasting, like I like to talk. As you can see, I feel like there's so much more I can add online than just beauty. I think if anything, beauty was just a step in like almost being able to guide me into this role, like being this one man show, like this literally this, I'm able to kind of put everything together myself, which I'm happy about that.
Yes. Darwin, the manifesting. I did good.
You corrected you.
I've been doing the real.
Is there anything specific that you would like to manifest?
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that you feel comfortable sharing. You do not have to share if you do not wish to.
No one's powerful enough to destroy my manifestation.
I know that's right.
I feel like if we give people power, then that's when fuck your shit up. But I think the one thing I want to manifest is just being able to provide all of my family a certain level of living that they've never experienced. Yes. That's what I always think of. Like, I never really thought of what I would achieve for that. I've always just seen the vision of like, hey, like, Ma, I just bought you a house.
Same here.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what everyone kind of dreams of that,
Absolutely. Especially when you don't come from an affluent background. That is something that has stayed with me since I left, since I graduated high school. So I identify with that, and I think it's brilliant and beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for being with us, Victor, on the show. We are super excited for everything that you're working on and all of your future endeavors. We support, if we have you on with your next coming project, we'll have you come on and all that. But where can our guest follow you on all your social medias?
Well, everything is Vic and Ram. And then if you want to follow my podcast and subscribe to all of that, it's Talking with Vic. Talking spelled TAWKIN because it's like my accent, the way I pronounce it. And just follow me on everything, and I'll keep the girls updated.
I know that's
yes. And like we always do, if you all would like to follow us on our social media platforms, you can hit me up on my Instagram and Twitter at _LordEvery. That is _LORDEVRY.
And you guys know you can find me on Instagram at Derwin King. That's DERWINKING. And on Twitter at Free Negro. That's FREENEGREAUX.
And if you all would like to continue the conversation on the podcast's platform, you can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at ThatBlackBoyJoy. And if you would like to write in or be a guest on the show, you can hit us up at our Gmail at ThatBlackBoyJoyPodcast@gmail.com. And you all can watch our episodes that we have up right now on YouTube at That Black Boy Joy. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends and all that stuff like that. And like we always tell our guests and ourselves and our viewers and listeners, please be so in love with who you are.
I agree.
Okay. Hey, I'm talking about the Black Boy Joy. I'm talking about the Black Boy Joy.